40 Watters, welcome to this week's episode 40 Watt Podcast. Once again, I'm here with you. My name is Philip. I'm your host. Here to have a good time. Back from Fretboard Summit. Here we go. I need you to understand, if you are not ready for a Fretboard Summit, just completely stocked episode, this might not be the episode for you. If you're a first-time listener, thank you for joining us. This is going to be a weird episode. This isn't what they're normally like, but I appreciate you coming. Hope you keep coming back. Return listeners, I hope you enjoy every minute of this episode with Mark. I'm not going to bury that lead. You've already seen the title. But a couple of things before we get started, we need to talk about sponsors of this podcast, one of which is Mark at Summer School Electronics.
Hey,
look at that.
I know that guy.
So I'm going to skip past you because we're going to talk all about summer school and what you've been up to here in a little bit. So you're going to hear plenty of that, listeners. I promise he didn't pay to be here. I actually invited him last minute. But also want to thank Maris Pedals for supporting the podcast, believing in what we do. I am a big fan of everything Maris makes. They are the one weird pedal company. I feel weird saying that. That feels wrong. But they're the one that makes the more experimental pedals that actually still connect with me. Like once you start feeling like you're not a guitar pedal anymore, I'm out. Like whatever. There's a few things that are exceptions to that rule. But I love the things that Terry, Angela, and Gina are making over at Maris. I can't wait to see what they dream up next. So, and lastly, of course, want to thank Barry over at Grez Guitars. There's a couple of Grez's hanging up on the wall. I'm not good at this. It's always mirror image from what I think it is. Hanging up on the wall behind me because I'm a big believer. Got to hang out with Barry last week, see some of his new stuff, play his Grand Tour bass, which is so rad. It is so good. I want one so bad. They're really expensive. They are not for the person who's just like, I want to beat up P bass or J bass and, just want to go rock out at a punk club. They are for the sophisticated bassist who needs the very, very best, because it is the very, very best. He told me he's building a 5-string one of those. 2 people have ordered 5 strings. I don't know if I'm supposed to share this information, but I'm sharing it now. So all the links are below. Go check out Barry. Go check out Maris. Go check out Mark over at Summer School. And lastly, this podcast is brought to you by the Patreon supporters of this show. You keep it going. You're the reason we keep going. Listeners, if you enjoy the show or if you just kind of like, it's all right. Well, the good shit happens on Patreon episodes that happen every week after the main episode. That's where we go to, be a little saltier with our opinions. I'm really deep in the bourbon by that point, so you never know what's going to happen. Some days, that's just the way it works. That's it. We're going to get into Fretboard Summit. Mark, how are you recovering? You realize it's been a week, right?
It doesn't feel like a week. Like sometimes it feels like it was forever ago, and there are times I'm like, no, I just got home yesterday. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I still feel like I got home yesterday because I'm still catching up on all the work from being out for a week.
Yeah, and I know for me, the shipment of we had to ship all of our stuff there to sell and do whatever, and then whatever didn't sell we had to ship home, and that box just arrived yesterday. So I'm like, wait, the time is just very screwed up.
Yeah, I feel like we should talk about. We're gonna jump around a little bit, listeners. We're not gonna try to stay in any kind of chronological order. This is sort of just a wrap up experiences. We're gonna talk about some new gear that came out, and in particular, the new Boss pedal that literally launched the day we're recording. Have opinions. So, Mark, at Fretboard Summit, you decided I'm gonna teach a pedal building class.
Yeah, I said yes to like too many things for this year at Fretboard Summit. Yeah. It was like, we had an idea.
I have mine in front of me. Mine's right here for you YouTube listeners. It is
There's a glare. Did you end up decorating? Oh, you decorated the back.
I decorated the back. Well, the reason I didn't decorate the front, Stephen Harrison gave me one of the decals that he had made.
Oh, yeah. That has the driver's ed thing.
Yep, and it's inside the pedal enclosure, and I just haven't opened it up to get it out because it's a water slide.
Yeah, that way you won't lose it.
Yeah, exactly. That way I won't lose it. So right now it's a little naked. But this is like my favorite stamp on the planet.
It's like the bird with a little top hat, and it's great. I've used that
It's a crow witch doctor. It's sort of.
Oh yeah, it has like the witch doctor thing. I try to remember why I originally bought that, because like before I even did summer school, I was just doing clones.
Right.
and I would use the stamps for all of them. And I think somebody wanted a clone of a pedal that was like an AC30 in a pedal. I forget what it was,
Okay.
but I would ask him like, "Hey, what kind of art do you want on it?" And I think he said something about a bird. So I'm like looking on Etsy for like bird stamps, and I was like, "This is kind of the coolest one I found." And he's like, "Yes, we're doing that. That's what I want."
It's by far the coolest one
And I
I've
think
seen.
I've used it for like 10 other different pedals since
I think
then.
half the people in our pedal building class. So, listeners, I bought a ticket. I paid, built in the class. It's roughly a modified DoD 250, kind of circuit, and it was a lot of fun being there heckling you the whole time.
It was fun. It took a little bit of the edge off of me to being like for the first night, like, oh, I know a couple of these people. There are people who I can give it back. We'll be all right.
It helped that I was late because I was looking for an amp and a guitar first.
Yeah, that was the other part. I was so stressed out of like weird like me and Steve, who does all of our artwork, who's my buddy, he came with me to Fretboard Summit. So I'm like, we have to make sure our booth is set up. And then I had to like coordinate with Jason Verlindi to get all the soldering irons, get them all in the place. I had to mail all the cases and the PCBs and all the stuff that we actually needed. And I'm like setting everything up, and I'm like, we have power, we have stations, we have chairs, everybody has all their tools, everything is good. I don't have a guitar. And I just didn't think that far ahead. I was so wrapped up in like every other little step that I'm like, oh no, that's
Right. So I get a text in the middle of a session, and it says, "Can you help me find an amp and a guitar?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm not leaving until I'm done hearing Charlie Hunter speak." Like
yeah,
that. Like I'm gonna listen to all this, and I did get most of it. And then as soon as I walk out of the session, there's like a wine and cheese social hour going on, and I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna drink a glass or two of wine before I go in to build pedals," and so I came in loose.
yeah. It was good though. It was fun.
Yeah.
I was like I said, I was just nervous getting. I had never taught uh this kind of class before. Like I've been a classroom teacher for decade plus at this point, and but it's like, no, you're teaching me how to do this thing with a tool that's can be very dangerous,
Right.
and I just trying to think like I brought some extra parts in case somebody messes up. But what if everybody messes up? I don't have that many extra parts. So I'm just trying to like figure it all out. Um, and I think when we had like, hey guys, you gotta like look for these uh this color code on the resistors. And like two people in our class were like, I'm colorblind.
Right.
We're like,
2 out of
okay.
10 people
Yeah.
were colorblind. And it's
All
like,
right.
all right, so that's not any good. That won't help us at all.
Yep. And
Uh,
big shout out to Steve Peterson, who was my TA, because he was definitely helping. Because like as you start going with it, like some people have more experience and they take to soldering better than others, and some people are falling behind, or the lighting wasn't great all throughout the room. So Steve was just like running over, like, what do you need? Okay, I'm gonna help you out, give you one-on-one attention, catch you up to the rest of the class. And there were times where Steve's like, what step are you on? I'm like, we're here. And he's like, oh, so are we. Okay, good. Let me go help somebody else. Um, and we were just running around doing all that. And it was great. Like the first night, everybody's worked. I think even the second night there was only one that didn't work, and it was a parts failure. Was but everything was great. They all sounded cool, and it was awesome that like so we found a guitar, and we were running it into like a PA that was like in the room, just because it was so late, they locked up all the rooms because
right.
at 5 o'clock the event ends, and then there's like small little thing like the showcase event ends, and then concerts start, so people are still like hanging around. And we were trying to sandwich this between the event and the concerts. So I'm like, well, we found a guitar at like the reception area. I was like, I see a black Squire Strat. Can I borrow that? And they're like, yeah, take it, whatever. And then we ran it through the PA. And every time somebody's pedal worked, you would just have this big shout of just like, yeah. Like, everybody got so excited. Like, every time somebody was like, "You're in the club. It totally worked." And I
I
was like,
love
"That's
that.
great." That was so
I hate that there's one person who didn't get to experience that though.
yeah. I think, I mean, as we were checking it, like, it was just a small little thing that had gone
Yeah.
wrong, like, which is gonna happen. And we could have been able to, like, spend more time, but this was at the very end of the second night, and we were all trying to get to go see Dave Hill do his set, which was hilarious and amazing. So it was just like, that was the other part that was tough for me, trying to like troubleshoot and fix after it's like we've been here for over 2 hours,
Right.
and I'm like, okay, just come on, man, we gotta work. I'm just running on fumes. I've been talking to people all day. Yeah, it was it
And then
was a lot.
and then my favorite part. So you brought a whole bunch of tools so that we could work on things, and then I get a message on Monday that's like, "Hey, I've got to go to the store because all of my tools are still being shipped back to me and I can't build pedals."
We have so to store all my stuff, I just got like the white pedal boxes, like the cardboard boxes that we ship pedals in. And I was like, oh, I can put all my screwdrivers in this one and this will go here. And by the end of day 3, we had brought everything back together, and it's obviously all the ones that were for the kits had been taken. Like, they were built and you guys all took your kits. So I was like, all right, well, I have a couple extra things. And then we had sold a bunch of pedals. So I'm like trying to get it all to fit in the box that I brought to ship back. I'm like, oh, well, hey, this extra box could go in this Tetris hole so that it'll ship. Not thinking like, oh no, that box is like all your screwdrivers. So when I so when I got back to New York, and I'm like, all right, it's Monday, I can like catch up on everything. I got to do a few more builds, and I'm like trying to work on stuff. And I'm like, where are all my screwdrivers? And I'm like, oh, well, according to UPS, they're like somewhere near Cleveland right now, and maybe they'll get here by like Wednesday. So
Oh
yeah,
man, I loved that. I didn't love it. It was just funny. It was really
it
funny because I
was
was like, I had the same revelation as you're saying. I'm like, oh yeah, you mailed all that home. It wasn't
yeah,
on the plane with you.
because I was like, I couldn't, I was trying to figure it all out. I'm like, all right, what can I check in my bag, whatever. But it's also like the pedals that we sell are in this big box, but if the box isn't tight, they're all just going to bounce around and the box will get all screwed up and whatever. So you got to pad it. And I'm like, yeah, and this will go here. And I'm a genius. This will be such a great idea. And I'm like, where's all my screwdrivers?
Gosh, I love that.
But they all
So
survived, so I'm good.
they did. I'm sure they did. You're back to building. You've got a lot of stuff to build. We're going to talk about the school lunch here in just a moment, because it's not as ridiculous as the report card from last year. It's
No,
actually
it's like
practical.
actually usable. Yeah, that it serves a purpose.
Yeah. But speaking of serves a purpose and is practical, let's talk about the new boss pedal. Uh,
Nice.
so I'm going to pull it up here. Um, it's the plug out FX.
It's not a good name.
Matt Knight came up with it. I'm not going to hate on it. But so listeners, if you have been under a rock for the last, I don't know, 24, by the time this episode drops, 24 hours, 36 hours, Boss has been working on digital effects pedals. They released a few earlier this year, or maybe it was late last year, plug-in versions of classic pedals. And last week, they released more. And I was like, oh, they're really going hard on this like plug-in pedal thing. And then sure enough, today drops the Boss PX1 plug-out effects pedal. It is it looks like y'all gonna have to just go look at the picture. I'm not gonna try to describe it, but what it
It's a boss
is,
pedal. It
it's
looks
a
like a
boss
boss
pedal
with a screen.
with a screen, and it loads their plugins so that you can load 16 pedals into it and have like apparently it says 8 preloaded effects.
So it comes with 8, but then that leaves you 8 other ones download and put in what you want?
So supposedly, and I'm only going by what the guitar nerds said on this week's episode that may actually not be out because I think I'm a patron, so I think I heard it early. So hey, listeners, next week you're going to get to hear about this on Guitar Nerds, unless you're a Patreon member of theirs. But I thought they said it comes loaded with 8, but you get 8 more when you register or something like that. And there is a Bluetooth app that allows you to pick which ones are currently loaded on your pedal, but you can't do any like parameter controls on the app. You have to do them on the pedal. So it's effectively, am I going to say this?
Say it.
It's a less flexible HX1.
Yeah, that's my thought. So I saw it this morning,
Yeah.
and I was like, at first when I saw it, I was like, did somebody Photoshop that? And
It is a little bland by Boss standards.
right, and then because so I mean I get that like the knobs have to kind of be blank because they do something different for each
Right.
pedal, but so much of like Boss stuff, at least within the last like 20-30 years, has been there's a lot in that top section that
Yeah.
describes like on the delays, it has the rotary switch and all the digital delays to be like, oh, and it tells you what they all are.
Yeah.
Or if they have the stack knobs, it says like, oh,
Yeah,
the
the
inner
concentric
one.
knobs,
Yeah,
man, they cram all the text in there they can get.
yeah, so it seems weird to see it empty like that. And then with everything with like HX Stomp and like Neural DSP and all these other different things that have all that, like it feels almost like, I don't want to say like too little too late, but it's like it's trying to do that when these guys have already established that world.
Yeah,
And I'm a diehard Boss fan. I mean,
same.
my phone case is a DS1. It's I love Boss pedals, and I think that's the thing of like their core base who love Boss pedals don't want one thing that does everything. They want to have the sea of colors. They want to
Yeah,
have Boss pedals on their board. They know they got a buffer if their pedal board needs a buffer. They know that it's going to be reliable. It's the most genius case design ever. Um, and they're all just a great version of what they are. Like they can all be modded. Well, they used to be able to be modded, but like there's things you can do to it. But like it's a great jumping off point,
mhm,
And when I think of like a Boss fan isn't worried about saving pedal board space. They'll get a bigger pedal board. It's fine. We know what we signed up for. Um, and this I'm just like, who is this for?
Now, I will say one of the benefits of it is that so it included 8, but you get 8 more with the loader app that you can load onto it. So you do get a couple of really hard to come by vintage Boss effects using this format. The slow gear, which you're going to pay a lot of money
Yeah,
for a slow
those
gear
go for
these
stupid
days.
money.
The TW1, the TWA, those go for a little kind of silly money for what they are. The SP1, the Spectrum,
Yeah.
and you get an OD1.
Now, here's another hot take.
Uh-oh.
Uh, I know a lot of those circuits are available by boutique builders who
That's true.
have done all those things. So if if you wanted it for the sound, you
Yeah,
could find it. If you want it for the collector value, you can get it. I don't like this does the sound, and I get it. It's Boss's original IP, whatever. They
right,
own it.
right.
They have the thing, and I fully love and respect all that. And if you're into it, you're into it. That's cool. I don't want to yuck your yum. You do what you got to do. Um, but for me and looking at it, it's like if I wanted the super rare slow gear, I want the slow gear. I don't
Yeah.
want this version. Um, and but maybe someone does want the Boss form factor to have that, and they're like, "This is the closest I'm gonna get," and it's also what, like, it's like 250.
250. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, I decided to look up and see how much a slow gear is going for.
5, right?
The cheapest slow gear on Reverb is 549, and there's another one for 795.
Yeah.
Just dumb money. Just dumb. No, don't pay that much. You can get the DD 200 and it's got the slow gear in there.
Yeah, that's what you know what I mean? That's kinda like I don't know. I don't know who it's for.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing with it,
For
and
me, I can see some use out of it. I could see like the Boss fanboy having to have it now though, because but the other thing they said apparently you'll get more effects as they release some in that format, but you're gonna have to buy them. They
that's
don't
the
just
other
come to you.
catch. Yeah. Um, which my, you know, elder millennial status, I still got my box of DVDs downstairs as an insurance policy. I don't know what these streaming services are going on with. And I don't know, I especially for guitar pedals, we've had the talk of like, modeler versus analog effects versus whatever.
Right?
I worry just like how long is it good for? In the grand scheme of things, how long will that app be supported on what you have? Whatever you're using iPad or your phone or whatever you're using to get the app. Like, I don't know. I those things sit in my mind of like I'd rather just buy it and have it and be like,
Yeah.
got it. It's mine. I'll use it until electricity stops being good. I don't know. Like,
That is part of my worry is that these digital platforms like again, I'm going to reference Guitar Nerds. Y'all go listen to next week's episode when it comes out if you're
we
not a
get it.
patron.
You're like in the cool kids club. I
I
understand.
pay to be in the cool kids club. They don't just let me in. So it's like being in a fraternity. But no, Joe talks about this on about his quad cortex and the reason he went back to like a board, like a pedal board full of mini pedals. He's like, that thing takes 2 minutes to boot up every time I start it. Like, and a bit of me, I don't think he said this, but I immediately was like, oh my God, those 2 minutes of anxiety. Oh,
Yeah.
about, is this about to work? Is this not about to work? I, Meanwhile, I'm going to jinx myself. I've been playing tube amps for 26 years. I've never had one go down on a gig.
I have once and we got through
You want to know how many times a computer has crashed on me when I needed it?
it. Any minute now, it's about to happen.
Shut up. Shut up. Don't jinx this. But that's where my brain is. I know that makes me super old and makes me super traditionalist and stuck in my ways, but those are the things I think about. Um it's just I want an amp on stage, my guitar plugged into it, and through some pedals that I feel like I can trust. But I've had pedal board go down and just had to go, oh, well, we're plugging directly into the amp here today, and had to make it work.
I had a show where we plugged in and every LED on my board started flashing. And I was like, these are just a bunch of analog pedals. What is and the power supply had died. Like that's what
Oh.
had gone bad. And so I was like, well, we gotta play a 3 hour set. So I like pushed my amp to like break up
Hmm.
and we just had to ride the volume knob the whole night. Like this is clean and roll it up. This is dirty. And we have no modulation or time effects for the next 3 hours. Like if you want to delay, you're gonna have to hit the string multiple times. We're gonna
Do you know that's how I used to do it before I learned how to use a delay pedal?
oh really?
Like I learned the intro to Welcome to the Jungle
Yeah.
by Guns N' Roses. I just picked
Hit
it.
it every note. Yeah.
Yeah, every note I picked it. My wrist, my 44-year-old wrist now can't really do that anymore. But I'm glad I have delay pedals to do it for me.
Absolutely. But yeah, there's I don't know that there is always a fear of uh your equipment failure
Yeah.
when you play, but that's also part of the fun of live is like it can be scary.
Hmm.
But I don't know, I maybe a million people love this pedal, and this solves all the problems that they had with their gear, and I hope so.
I hope it does.
And I hope that they do well. Um, for me, it's not really something I need or see a it's for me it feels like here's this, let's create a problem that it solved versus like now
So
we have
there
that.
are a couple of things that I think it does interestingly for players. One, it is stereo in and out. Have you ever wanted a stereo OD1? You got one now, or a stereo DS1? You can do it now. My guess is you're actually just getting dual
My answer
mono.
is no. I've never wanted or needed that.
Man,
But
I've absolutely wanted a
sure, again,
stereo super feedbacker and distortion. Definitely.
I'm
But
sure somebody does.
but it also gives you an expression control for whatever you want to use an expression control for. You could use, I don't know, I'm making things up, y'all. I don't actually know. But could you imagine a world where you have a stereo OC2 and you can blend in the octave with an expression pedal?
I'm imagining it.
That didn't excite you in your loins? That didn't get you going?
Listen, man, there's no metal zone in any of those 16 banks.
Yet? Yet.
I'm just saying, you could have delayed the release and put a metal zone in there. I think people would have been happy with that.
Yeah, I do think that's a glaring overlook. You could have included it as like the secret 17th. Like, you
Yeah.
don't know until you know.
Yeah. It's or maybe take what was their, it was like the 500 series, or the one that
Yeah.
had they had the Klon setting in there that was never in an actual pedal.
Oh, the 20. That was the 20.
That was that
The
was the one.
OD20. Oh man. Do you know how cheap you can get an OD20 now?
Oh, I believe it. But that was like the whole thing, that was like Boss now has like a Klon setting, um which I know we all have so many Klon clones, it's silly at this point.
I don't
But
need more.
as a marketing point, that would have been kind of cool to put in there.
That
But
would have been actually really cool.
right, um I'm available, boss, for consulting. Let me know.
Once again, I'm just regurgitating Guitar Nerds content today. Apparently, they mentioned this because they mentioned the OD20. That's why I remembered that there was a Klon on the OD20. You know what else was also on an OD20? The Rockman. It's got a Rockman setting on there.
So yeah, it's
It has a blendable octave on the OD20 for any effect. You can blend in an octave.
that's on the, oh yeah, on the overdrive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um it's also like, see, that's the thing. Like, I feel for Boss fans that want that level of creativity, that's the pedal that was like doing all that. Whereas putting it in the compact series form factor, I don't know. I feel like people are like, no, I want to have my orange one, and that's my distortion. I want to have my yellow one, that's my overdrive.
yeah, I
And
get
like
that.
not having all of them together. Um, and again, even if this is for you and you love it and you're like, I'm buying all the presets, I'm putting everything in there, I'm doing it. Well, if everybody else doesn't, they're going to stop supporting it because it's not
Right.
cost effective. So
Yeah.
it kind of has to be successful for enough people, for the people that love it, to keep it functioning. Which is a concern, I
Yeah.
think.
I think it's a legitimate concern. And I mean, I'm not going to be buying one. I have no need for more pedals in this world, despite the fact that I keep buying them or being given them, and it just keeps happening.
We got
My
a nice
house,
multi effect coming your way soon from
I
your
I
friends at Summer
do.
School Electronics.
Let's talk about analog summer multi effects. Well, sort of. I think the delay may have some
It's digital esque.
digital S.
It's got a little salt and pepper, some digital in there.
So your fun pedal for this year's science fair, which was really interesting, super rad,
Yeah,
this year, was the school lunch, which I'm so glad you listened to me and put it in a lunch
that's
box.
a great idea.
Yeah,
Everyone's been loving it.
It had to come in a lunchbox.
Yes.
And it is at your price point that it does a thing and it's worth it, but it's also I don't want to build a million of these price.
Yeah. Uh, it's $4.99.
Yeah.
And it's your entire pedal board in one pedal. So you have a fuzz circuit that's a modified version of our pep rally. So it's a 2 transistor fuzz. You can bias it and get all wild. It has our Trash Panda distortion circuit in it. It has a delay circuit that's the 2399. So it's an analog signal path, but the chip that remembers what you played is
It's
digital.
digital. Yeah.
And then it has a transistor based boost. Like that's what's in our what's one half of our extra credit boost. But they're all in one pedal that runs off of one 9 volt, like one spot, and it fits in a lunchbox, and it comes with a lunchbox.
Yeah. And once you get buy a one spot, it'll fit in the lunchbox with it.
Yeah.
You just got to
There's
carve it out of the foam. Just make room for it.
yeah. And we were just like, what
Mark,
would
it's not just your pedal board, it's your pedal case. You need to market it as, an aluminum flight case.
and if you really want to have I would not trust that thing as a flight case.
Absolutely not.
um
It's a lunchbox.
I mean, but if you really want, you can hollow out the phone, put like a PBJ underneath it too. If you really want to have lunch at the gig,
Yeah.
you could do that.
Yeah. Or early morning snack,
Yeah, whatever you
as
got
it
to
might
do,
be.
man. It's like in like school breakfast.
Yeah.
The idea was like, so we did the report card last year, which was like 5 drive pedals stacked in series, and depending how far forward you put your foot on the pedal, you could turn on all of them, and it was chaos. This
Complete chaos.
was a little bit more useful, but I think equally as fun. Um, but yeah, I showed it off at the science fair thing. I had it at our booth, and everybody who came by was like, I need to play with that thing. Like, what is it?
And it's available for pre-order.
Yes. I have, I think, 20 something of them, like boards all built. They're around here somewhere. And then the cases we're just waiting for our print shop because they're a little behind and slow right now. But
So the pre-order, just so listeners know, the pre-order goes a certain amount of time or until a certain number are sold.
yeah, what's kind of like, that's really like, I'm going to leave it up there until they sell. Like, whereas last year, we only did pre-order for like 2 weeks or something because like the report card from last year was not engineered to be made multiple times. Like, I made it in a way that worked, and it had a bunch of trim pots that you need like a screwdriver to like tune it by ear to make all 5 of them work together. And once I got one built, I was like, we're done. That I made it once. That's what it is. And because everybody kept nagging me and then was like, and they started ordering, I'm like, oh man, I got to make a couple of these now. And every one that I made, I'm like, I really wish I planned this better. So I
And
learned, I learned from that. So this year for the school lunch, I made sure as I'm like laying out the PCB and like putting all the stuff, and I'm like, okay, make sure it's simple enough and designed that you can mass produce it. If like, and I think I estimated like we'll make 20 of them. I was like, that should be fine. If for some reason it blows up and everybody wants more, I'm like, okay, I can do that. It's going to take me some time to get more cases, whatever, like normal problems. But yeah, it's been pretty good. I think about somewhere around half of them are already gone at this point.
wow,
And
that's wild.
yeah, and it's fun to see because like, I mean, I know we're talking all over the place. Back to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what Fretboard Summit is like.
Actually, that leads us perfectly back to Fretboard Summit.
It's almost like we know what we're talking about.
Almost.
Uh, I feel like that's the perfect release for these kind of crazy things because you're like, people who go there, you're uh putting out your stuff at your board with all these insanely brilliant guitar builders and amp builders and like everything. So it's like all these people are bringing their A game. They're like top tier, And I'm like, all right, well, I try to keep our pedals at a certain price point so that they're affordable to like. I tell people like we may not be your first pedal, but we may be your first boutique pedal. Where like your first step into that like I know what I want, and it's sorry, boss. It's not a boss pedal. I want something a little more exclusive. I do love boss pedals.
Me too.
Um, I mean, come on, I got the phone case. So anyways, this is the event where it's like, all right, you can just go crazy on something and don't worry about following that price point rule and see what you got.
Yeah.
And it's always fun and like challenging just to be like, how are we gonna do this? And yeah, I love it. It's great.
Yeah. It's that's the beauty of Fretboard Summit. It brings how do I say this? It brings the crazy. There's there's cool and rad stuff. There's way cooler stuff than I would expect from what I think people pigeonhole as an acoustic guitar event. Like,
So can I interrupt and say what was the coolest thing I saw?
yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. What was
I
your
love it.
biggest, coolest thing you saw?
The coolest thing was directly next to our booth. And
Oh my gosh.
Capozzoli Guitars, I think it's from North Carolina. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, Chris. I'm sorry. But I had never met him before. I was unaware of his company, but they're just like, you're set up right there. Amazing archtop guitars. And he had this giant thing of wood that I think it was walnut, and it had a guitar. It was carved with a hole in the middle that was the shape of a guitar, and a guitar just floating there. And he had made it's like a Les Paul style shape, for the lack of a better term. It's all one piece. It had like a classical style headstock, and then the headstock to the neck to the body was all one piece. The frame around it was the rest of the piece. He just carved it out. It was like to hold. There were LEDs in the stand to like backlight it, and when you put it back in the stand, there was a magnet that connected to the truss rod, so the guitar was just floating, and
There it is. I
it
knew I had a
was
picture of it.
it's
And
amazing.
so, listeners, for what it's worth, I am posting this on Instagram immediately following this recording. And so you can go back and look at my Instagram for a terrible picture. I did not do it justice, but to get an idea of what it is. It's the most bonkers, like, I don't, it, like, you know the way nerds mount swords on the wall. I'm one of those nerds. I don't have
Yeah,
any swords on the wall, but I would be that person, right? That's what this is. It's
and
the mount and the guitar. It's the most bonkers thing ever.
when I talked to him about it, he said he had about 100 hours of labor into it, and he's like, I think I was like, oh, did somebody like commission that? Is that like? He's like, no, I just wanted like a passion project. Like I'm working on all my other guitars and all my other commissions, and I'm like, he's like, I had that piece of wood sitting there for like 3 years, and was like, I know what I want to do, and just like started hacking away at it here and there, and yeah, it's
I'm
beautiful.
showing it here on YouTube for just a second.
It
Yeah,
it plays amazing. It's got those like gold foil kind of pickups in it. It's rad. And I was just staring at it for 3 days, just like that is the coolest guitar that I've seen here.
and extremely expensive and worth every penny he was asking for it, considering the amount
Oh
of
yeah.
work he put into it.
Well, yeah. That's I was talking to him about like the like price and where he's at with it. I'm like, it's I was like, it's worth all of that. Um, I'm not the customer for it, though I wish I were, but I hope somebody picks that up because it is phenomenal.
Yeah, it was so cool. It's over on Instagram, y'all, and I'm gonna try to link to them. Capizzola Guitars.
Nicest
Um,
dude. He was like when we were hanging out all weekend, went and got lunch. Nicest guy.
that's awesome. So this whole like coolest thing we saw is such a hard conversation for me because there's a bunch of cool things that I could mention that will never be commercial products. And so it doesn't do me any good to tell you how amazing it. Now that guitar is never going to be a commercial product. There's one. He is never going to be stupid enough to do that again. Right? He is never going to be that ADHD focused in on making this thing happen.
I was like, that is maybe the most expensive business card I've ever seen. If you want it, I mean, if you commission it, I'm sure he'll do it. But like, I was like, It's crazy. And like that's the craziest thing I saw. I'm sure I didn't see everything. So we're definitely, like I said, I overcommitted to teaching classes, doing the science fair, doing the Pinewood Derby,
Yeah.
actually selling stuff. So like I didn't there were a ton of rooms that I'm like, I'm gonna pop in there in a minute. And then I didn't get to go back in like at all.
Well, the coolest thing for me, my favorite thing I saw came from our friends Justin and Scott over at Motander Guitars. And I love that my favorite thing they do isn't the guitars they build. I'm so sorry, y'all. I love your guitars. I do. I genuinely do. Y'all know I've had this conversation. Um, but so they took the idea, the box that they built for me, that's this stereo tremolo that can be at different ratios on left and right. It's beautiful. It's perfection. I love playing it. They've taken that and gone crazier with it. So they brought a device, and I'm never going to remember the name that Scott called it. I'm so sorry. Scott being Justin's dad, Scott is kind of this mad scientist that like not a musician, doesn't understand the musical terminology, but once you explain to him what it is you're trying to do, he's like, oh yeah, and makes things happen. But they created a device that uses 6 LDRs. Now, granted, sorry, Europeans, you could never have this device. Well, nobody else is going to have this device
Yes.
either because they have no intention of building them for people. So they they took the idea of that multi-band tremolo that I have, and they turned it into a multi-band harmonic tremolo. So it's a 6-band multi-harmonic tremolo where there's 6 oscillators at 6 different frequencies that roughly align with the 6 strings of a standard tuned guitar around those frequencies. This gets crazier. He left the LDRs uncovered. So you have to turn the lights off in the room, and there's a lamp that shines above it. And then he put fidget spinners on top of each LDR so that depending on how fast you spin the fidget spinners is the oscillation in that frequency band.
Insane. That's like
It's
I've
the
seen
most bonkers, coolest shit I've ever seen.
I'm listening to what you're saying and I saw it. You're describing it
Yeah.
perfectly, but I'm also thinking like anybody listening to this right now is gonna be
They have
like,
no idea. They
what?
have no idea.
Was that one that was also in a thing of Tupperware?
No, that one wasn't in Tupperware because it couldn't be because of the light and all
Okay.
that thing.
Because I
But
do remember them saying that they had to make sure to check the Tupperware full of wires and components and not bring it as their carry-on the plane because it looked
yes.
very suspicious.
They did have a different Tupperware that's basically the same one I have, but it adds the harmonic tremolo in a controlled fashion. And someone actually asked Scott, it's like, yeah, but how do I spin them while I'm playing? He said, you don't. It's not for using, it's for fun.
Yeah, it's not. We didn't go that far with it. It's come on.
Right. This isn't practical. Nothing about this is practical. But that's the kind of thing I love Fretboard Summit for, seeing that kind of thing. But my favorite thing, and this is such a simple thing, I made a couple of purchases at Fretboard Summit. We won't talk about the big one, y'all. It's a Telecaster. It's a Scythe. It's a Scythe OH20. It's freaking amazing. I still got to take pictures and put them on Instagram. I love the guitar. I've loved it for a year, but y'all aren't going to get as excited about a telly shaped object as I am. The thing I am most excited about, Black Bobbin teamed up with 3 Bender to make a palm bender for an offset guitar.
Oh yeah, I remember them talking about that.
Yeah, so I bought one, and since you haven't seen it yet,
No.
for you YouTube viewers, you can take a peek. So this is what it looks like. It just adds a bender using what looks like a buzz stop for a stop tail. I mean,
So
for a vibrato.
yours is just on the B string, so it's just a B bender, right?
Yes, just a B bender.
Okay.
You can put it on any string you want. You can add as many as you want, to be honest. But it does take the B string out of the vibrato. So you can't use the vibrato on the B string.
Okay.
But Shelby told me he is working on a V2, doesn't know when it'll happen. So don't go out there waiting for it, where it still strings to the vibrato. And he's just figuring out how to make that work mechanically. But it has been the coolest thing ever to have an offset guitar like my Novo that has a vibrato and a B bender. It's so cool. And they were extremely affordable. They were sub $200.
It's so like this year's science fair was definitely smaller compared to like last year. I feel like there was
Yeah.
last year's had so many people doing it. Um, but there were so many crazy things that like I try to explain to people like what is Fretboard Summit? And I just have a hard time being like, it's kind of just like the craziest guitar nerd convention that you can have. And like, but it's not even but it's not even like NAM where you're like, oh, here's a bunch of Squires that you can't
Right.
buy. It's like, no, because it's coming out of like Fretboard Journal, which I kind of describe as like the cigar aficionado of guitar. Like if you're
It's a boutique guitar magazine.
yeah. So like it's a very different world because like I mean even last year was my first year going and I'm like the only brands like guitar wise that I knew were like Martin Taylor and like Collings.
Right.
Maybe a couple others that I'm just blanking on, but like there were when I went in the I forget which building it was, but one of them where it was just like all the acoustic makers. I was just like, what is this? Like and like being mostly an electric player, like I have a couple acoustic guitars and I'm like, I'm good. Um, but I'm never satisfied with electric.
Yeah.
But going into that like acoustic world, just being like, what is all of this? This is overwhelming.
And electric players, I need y'all to, I'm going to say this with as much compassion and understanding as I possibly can. When y'all think a guitar is too expensive cause it costs 2 or 3 grand, y'all are adorable to the acoustic community. I played
There were like
personally.
ukuleles that cost that.
Right. I played at least 3 guitars that were priced at more than $25,000. At least, and that's that I know of. There were 2 guitars. This is the thing I love about Collings at Fretboard Summit. Now, y'all, this is not like NAMM where you can't sell on the floor. Everything's for sale. Please buy it. Nobody wants to go home with the things they brought, except for Collings. Collings sponsors the event. You know what they bring? A bunch of prototypes of stuff they may or may not ever make again. It's really cool. Like I went in their room, was talking to Nully, who's been on the podcast, and they had these 2 parlor, somewhere between parlor and OM size bodies, small body guitars and acoustic guitars. And they said, yeah, these are prototypes. One has a thin top but thicker bracing. One has thin bracing but a thicker top. And we wanted to see what the difference in sound would be. And they built them identically otherwise. They could not sound like more different guitars. Blew my mind. One was this really like balanced, warm, like strummy style songwriter guitar. And the other was like mid-focused acoustic blues, crazy sounding, totally different sounding guitars.
Steve and I were walking around. So Steve's dad is like a huge like vintage Martin fan and
Okay.
has like all the he's an acoustic guy and whatever. So Steve saw maybe like in the Martin room or something, like sent his dad a picture of a guitar. I was like, this is really cool. And then his dad sent him back a picture of his personal Martin, and Steve's like, I don't think he knows what I'm doing here. And so then Steve sent him like Collings and Taylor and a bunch of other boutique brands and whatever. And his dad was like, where are you? Like, what's happening right now? And
Love it.
he's like, I don't think I totally explained to him where I went this weekend, like why I'm in Chicago.
Right. He doesn't get it. And that's the beauty of Fretboard Summit. Not only the electric builders that are there, like Philippe from Carolina Effects had his prototype guitars that he's working on with Shock the Fox, that are kind of cool. One scalloped fretboard past the 12th fret. It was whatever.
Super cool.
That's Philippe. But Scythe guitars, of course. Ton of amp makers are starting to be out there. Two Rock's a sponsor. You got Madsen, you got Silk Tone, you got Henriksen Amps. It's another sponsor. Like there's really this growing electric community amongst the Fretboard Summit crew. And I love that they're the outliers. They're the weird ones. Like Okay, one of the weirder things, I think this is the best way to describe how weird Fretboard Summit is. There was a Pinewood Derby race. Like, builders built cars. They could race in one of two heats, fun cars, and then like actually built to spec to try to win a Pinewood Derby cars. And Yamaha built a car.
Yeah, it was
Like,
crazy.
Yamaha built a car for this. Like, that's how much fun they have with it.
And so Chris Capizzoli, who was next to us, we were talking, he ended up winning the whole thing for the legit like Boy Scout rules
Nothing
thing.
surprises me that a guy who carved an entire
Yeah.
guitar out of one piece of wood and then mounted it back in magnetically won a
Yeah.
derby race.
He did that. Like Chase Bliss just took, I think it was a mood pedal, and just mounted it on wheels. Somebody made like an actual mini fretboard with a pickup with strings on it, so you could play it, and it had an output.
That's
There's a
so bonkers.
Somebody else made a mini amp, like one of those little like 1 watt
Yeah.
solid state amps. So that somebody made a video where they're playing the guitar. Like it just sounds like an out of tune ukulele as they're
Yeah.
like plucking on it, running through a Chase Bliss mood, like through the race car into the amp race car, and everybody's like holding it because they have little like 6-inch cables connecting
Yeah.
it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, we did one that Steve made that was like either his scale was off or their scale. It was like a hair overweight, so they had to
Yeah.
enter it in the WTF category. And I think he took second in the
Yeah.
WTF category. I think Stife Guitars
Yeah, I think
won that
Scythe.
one.
Because Scythe was also trying to build one for the real race, and their weight was off
Yeah,
just slightly.
And then for the silly one, we made the summer school bus, where we took a yellow case and just put like a fuzz circuit in it with a flashing red LED, and then 3D printed school bus sides for it.
It was
And
beautiful. You
it
have
did.
pictures of those, right?
Oh yeah, they're all over our Instagram.
Okay, good.
Steve's keeping those on his trophy wall because he made both of those. Um, I remember building it. And I'm like, this thing's great. How do I put the battery in? Because our pedals aren't made for batteries. So I'm like, it's super jimmied in there, and I'm like, okay, I really hope it works. But they were like getting ready to race it. They like put them all up on the top of the track, and I'm like, push the button on the school bus. And the guy was like, what? And then the red light starts flashing, and he's like, that's awesome. But I think that was the heat where there was nobody at the end to catch the cars, so they all went down and just shot off the track and all smacked into the wall at the end, which is kind of funny.
Less than ideal than
We
what you were going for, but
We're figuring it out as we go.
yeah,
We're all learning.
I love it. Also, they put it in this tiny little room because I think Jason grossly underestimated how many people would want to watch a derby car race.
So hot in there.
Yeah, it was warm. I sat outside. I couldn't do it.
Well, I was thinking about it. We were talking about it afterwards. Like, they should have done it in the big theater so people could be like in the balcony and look down to see it. I feel like that would have been.
That would have been really cool, actually. Okay, Jason, officially next year, derby car race on the main stage of Mauer Hall.
I'm going to say it here because after last year, Jason and I were talking. He's like, I'm always looking for crazy ideas. And I'm like, game on, friend. And that's where I was like, let me teach a pedal building class. My other crazy idea that I really want to have happen, I think I talked to you about this. I want to do a restring relay race.
Yes.
And do like luthiers versus like pedal builders and amp builders. And you each have 5 guitars, and you got like each person has to like restring a guitar. And if you want to get wild, start with like an acoustic, and then maybe a Turley, and then a 12-string, and then maybe a Floyd Rose.
I'm gonna add a third team. I think YouTuber podcasters should have a shot at this. Let's go.
Yeah, and then maybe a classical. That would be your 5th headstock.
God, no.
And you just have somebody who can just like host it and just get everybody talking trash the whole time. I think it'd be really, really fun. Just
the final heat is to try to restring one of those double neck 12-string 6-strings that Martin had in their booth.
Yes, I'm just saying a restring relay race I think would be really fun.
I think that's got legs. I think that could be a thing.
All right.
We'll just make it happen, Mark.
We're gonna will it into
Forget Jason.
existence.
We're just gonna tell him, Jason, this time on this day, that's filled. It's done.
There's
Just
a
trust us.
sponsored by Summer School and 40 Watt Podcast. Just give us some time in the theater. We're gonna fill it out.
That's exactly what's gonna happen.
I like it. Get
So-
String Joy to sponsor it with all the strings.
Hey, I got to talking to Scott there from
I did
Stringjoy
too.
at the event. We got to chatting, and then he and Scott from the Effects Loop podcast got to talking about something Excel formulas, and I had to walk away.
That sounds right.
They really did get to talking about Excel form. I'm like, nope, I'm gone, not my thing. I went over, and that's when I played the new Steelmaster from Black Bobbin. I was like, immediately was like, all right, here's my money.
Yeah.
Just give me one. So, listeners,
it's the anti-NAM. It's great.
it is the anti-NAM. It's the most telling thing, and I was gonna transition us to get ready to go to the Patreon episode, but I want to tell this. I think the most telling thing about what Fretboard Summit is by the second, definitely by the third day, it takes you 30 minutes to cross the street between the buildings because you're stopping to talk to all of your friends.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to call this Guitar Camp friends are friends, even if I only ever see them at Fretboard Summit.
That's that Jason pitched our pedal building class where he's like, you go to camp and you leave with your friendship bracelet. You just taught all these people how to make their DoD 250 friendship bracelets.
That's amazing. I love that.
Like, yeah, that's great.
Well, all right. We are going to move over to Patreon, where we're going to talk about some other things that have come out. We're going to talk about some other like behind the scenes stuff. So if you want to hear something, if you want to hear about how I broke embargo on the Boss pedal yesterday, I never signed an embargo. I might tell that story over on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/40watt podcast, $5 a month, get you bonus episodes and my eternal love because you make this show happen. Even if you subscribe for 1 month, I'll take 1 month. If you are new to the show, please follow, like, subscribe. Please go subscribe on YouTube. Going to have some more content coming out over there really soon. And in the meantime, Mark, we're going to Patreon. I need a rocket ship sound effect like the Guitar Dads. All right, y'all. Be good to yourselves, be kind to each other, and make some noise.